All right. Welcome back to another day of math. We're going to actually be going through the 1.1 test review, which focuses on multi-step equation type of stuff. I'm going to be doing this one in parts for a couple reasons. That basically will let me go through pretty much everything that's on the review. And then it will, so that you can study or watch it before you take the test, because the review is pretty much the same thing as the test. It'll give you something that you can go back and watch if you do need to retake this test, where I walk through pretty much all the same type of problems. Okay, so first things first, when we go through multi-step equations, there are 4 general steps that we follow every time with multi-step equations. The first step is to distribute. So if you see a pair of parentheses, you're going to lock in on that first, because you got to distribute the number in that parenthesis first. Next thing is you're going to look for like terms. So that is the same type of term. So just a basic number or a number with a variable. Like the numbers can be combined together or the variables can be combined together. But you can't combine them with each other. So you combine the like terms on the same side as equal sign. Then you're going to move the variable to one side. So we want to get our variable to one side if you got it on both sides, because we want to get it all by itself on one side. That's the whole point with solving equations, right? And the last step is to solve. So if you get to that point, then you should probably be left with something a little bit basic, like a 2-step or 1-step equation, which should be a pretty easy solve at that point. So let's go through problems 1 through 4 here is what I'm going to do in this video of the review. So number 1, looking at our steps, first thing is we're going to look, is there anything to distribute? No. So we move on to our next step. Are there any like terms? So again, when we're looking for like terms, we're going to look at just one side of the equal sign. So I have a variable and a number. Those are not like terms, so I can't combine them. And same right here, a variable and a number, so no like terms here. And then the next thing is to move the variable to one side. I do have variables on both sides. It doesn't matter which one I move. I can choose either one. I always like to move the smaller variable, but it's really up to you. To move a variable, it's just kind of like moving any kind of number that's adding or subtracting. If it's a positive variable, you're going to subtract it to move it to the other side. If it is a negative variable, you're going to add it. So if I want to move this 3n here, it is positive. So to move it to the other side, I would subtract 3n to each side. And then it cancels out, and 4 minus 3 is 1. So I'm left with a singular n minus 1 equals 7. And now my last step is to just solve, and this is a 1-step equation, right? So to get rid of this minus 1, I would just add 1 to each side. And that leaves me with the n all by itself equal to 8, and I'm done. That's my answer. Not too tough, right? So let's try number 2. So looking at number 2, again, we're going to look to distribute first if we can. No parentheses, so nothing like that. Combine like terms. Well, there's only that term on that side, right? On this side, I have a -3 and a -5 that I can combine. So if I combine a -3 and a -5, -3 minus 5 would be -8. Okay, and then I still have the 4r is equal to 3r. Okay, now my next step is to move the variable to one side. This variable is all by itself, so I don't really want to move it. And so this time I'm going to actually pick the bigger one, because this is the side that I'm trying to get the variables away from. So I'm going to minus the 4r, since it's positive, to each side, and that's going to leave me with a -r is equal to a -8. Still not quite by itself, so I'm going to divide by -1, and r is going to equal +8. Okay, sorry, I blocked you. There you go, r equals 8. Okay, let's try another one. Let's look at number 3 here. Again, I'm going to do these first 4 problems. So, number 3. I have -100 equals 5 times 3n minus 2. So I'm going to, again, distribute first. So I've got this 5 in front of the parentheses, so I've got to distribute that to both terms in the parentheses, and I'm going to get negative 100 equals it's not a negative 5. It is a positive 5. So 15n minus 10. And there's only the one variable, so I don't need to move a variable. So the last step is to solve. It's just a two-step equation. I got an acquaintance and a best friend. Acquaintance is going to leave first by adding, since it's subtracting. So I'd add 10, which gives me negative 90 equals 15n. And then I divide by 15 to each side. And 90 divided by 15, is that 6? I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah. Would be negative 6 equals n. And that's my answer. Not too tough, right? Again, that was pretty much, I distributed, added the 10, divided. It took me 3 steps. Not too bad. And the last one we'll do number 4 here real quick. So again, I look to distribute first if I can. So I've got this 6 here, I'm going to distribute that first. So that gives me 90 is equal to 6k plus 6 times 8 is 48. And then I still have this plus 6 hanging out over there. Okay, next step is to combine like terms. Do I have any like terms on this side? No, this side. The k doesn't have any like terms, but 48 and 6 would be like terms, right? So I'm going to combine those, and I would get 54, and then plus 6k is equal to 90. And then the last step is there's only one variable, so the last step is going to be to solve. So I've got a two-step equation. I'm going to subtract the 54 to each side. So 90 minus 54 is 36, is equal to 6k. And then my last step, I'm going to divide by that 6, and k is going to equal 6. And I'm done. Not too tough, right? Again, if you ever have any questions, just ask your teacher. We're here to help, guys.